The air crackled, a silent symphony of what was about to be. Liam's stare was a brand on my skin, patient, possessive, a slow burn that was finally about to ignite. My breath hitched as I turned, our eyes locking. This wasn't just observation anymore. A subtle invitation in the lift of my fingers, and his whole body went rigid. He was up, moving before I even registered the shift in the atmosphere. His hands settled on my hips, pulling me flush against him as we swayed together. A silent dance of anticipation. Each inhale, every tiny movement sent shivers dancing across my skin. "Don't stop," I breathed, the words a mere whisper. The tension coiled tighter between us until my body finally yielded, melting against his. A slow exhale escaped him as he drew me closer, and for a blissful moment we simply existed in the quiet warmth we created. But the silence hummed with a different energy. I tilted my head, studying him. "You're quiet." A low chuckle rumbled in his chest. "Just thinking." I smirked, my fingertips tracing his jawline. A fleeting hesitation, barely there, but I caught it. "About how good that was?" I laughed softly, snuggling closer. "Yeah." My fingers played across his skin. "But have you ever thought about making it even more incredible?" His breath hitched almost imperceptibly. "More incredible?" I propped myself up, watching him intently. "We've always chased thrills, right? What if we pushed the boundaries a little further?" A flicker of tension tightened his shoulders. Subtle, but I noticed. It only fueled my curiosity. "Come on," I coaxed, tilting my head. "I know it's crossed your mind." Our eyes met, something primal sparking in his. A long exhale, and then his voice dropped, low and husky. "There is something," he admitted. My pulse quickened, anticipation a delicious knot in my stomach. "Tell me." He ran a hand through his dark hair. "I want to see you experience something different." I blinked. "Different?" His lips parted as if carefully selecting each word. "Yes," he finally said, the words hanging heavy in the air. "But not another man, a woman." The words settled between us, thick and charged. I swallowed, my heart hammering against my ribs. Was this nerves, or something far more dangerous? I opened my mouth, but no sound came. I wasn't sure how to feel. The thought burrowed its way into my mind, an unexpected seed taking root. Lying in bed, going through my day. Even when I tried to focus, his words echoed. At first, it felt outrageous. The idea of being with another woman, especially with him watching, should have been easy to dismiss, but it wasn't. The more I pondered it, the less bizarre it seemed. Curiosity, quiet but insistent, began to bloom. It wasn't just the act itself that lingered. It was the potential shift between us. Would it change things? That question echoed louder than I cared to admit. Doubts nipped at the edges of my burgeoning excitement. What if I loved it too much? What if it altered how he saw me, how I saw myself? It felt like stepping off a familiar cliff into an unknown abyss. Yet, beneath the uncertainty, a thrill pulsed. He desired this, that much was clear. And if I was honest, a part of me yearned to grant him that desire, to explore this uncharted territory. Hesitation remained, a whisper of caution, but it wasn't enough to hold me back. I was going to do it. The how and the who were still hazy, but one thing was certain. His fantasy had become mine. The following days were a whirlwind of clandestine planning. I told myself not to overthink it, the decision made. But with each detail finalized, the anticipation intensified. Every glance from Liam, every casual touch, made the impending moment feel more tangible. This wasn't just about fulfilling his desire. I was seizing control. By the time everything was set, the nerves had transmuted into pure exhilaration. The right person, the perfect time, the ideal way to unveil it. All that remained was his reaction. That morning, as we lay tangled in the sheets, I turned to face him, my fingers tracing lazy circles on his chest. He was still half asleep, his breathing deep and even, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. I leaned in, my voice soft but firm. "I need you home by 8 tonight, no questions. Just trust me." His eyes fluttered open, a sleepy smile gracing his lips. "What's happening at 8? I met his gaze, holding it just long enough to let intrigue take hold. "You'll see." His brows arched slightly, but I saw the curiosity snag him. He wanted to press, but he knew me well enough to recognize a closed door. "All right," he finally conceded, stretching languidly. "I'll be here." Good. Because by tonight, his fantasy would shatter the boundaries of our reality. Evening arrived with a swiftness that surprised me. I greeted him at the door, my pulse steady, though a nervous flutter danced beneath the surface. He had no idea what awaited him, and that ignorance was intoxicating. His brow lifted in silent inquiry as I took his hand, offering only a knowing smile. "Come with me," I murmured, leading him down the hallway. The door was already ajar, a sliver of warm light spilling into the dim hallway. The moment we stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted, charged, expectant. And then he saw her. Seraphina. She was poised on the edge of the bed, a picture of effortless confidence, her gaze flicking over Liam before settling on me, something unreadable glinting in her eyes. I heard the sharp intake of his breath, saw the almost imperceptible tensing of his body. He wasn't just observing. He was absorbing, processing the implications of what was about to unfold. Then Seraphina moved. Her fingers brushed my wrist, a feather-light touch that escalated, tracing a slow, deliberate path up my arm. A silent invitation. Instinctively, I turned toward her, my breath catching as her palm smoothed over my skin. This was new, unfamiliar, yet utterly captivating. The first kiss was gentle, exploratory, a soft meeting of lips testing the waters before deepening into something more. My body responded instantly, leaning into her touch, my hands finding their way to her waist, feeling the warmth of her skin beneath my fingertips. A low, controlled exhale came from behind me. "Liam." I didn't need to turn to know he was watching, feeling every second of this as intensely as I was. We took our time, savoring the slow unraveling. Seraphina's hands moved with purpose, slipping beneath fabric, guiding me inch by inch into a deeper connection. Every brush of skin sent a fresh wave of heat through me, the gradual discovery making me shudder. Then she took the lead, her lips leaving mine, tracing a slow, deliberate path down my neck. Savoring each touch, I barely registered the sensation of my top slipping away, of her fingers ghosting over newly exposed skin. Every movement was fluid, effortless, as if she were attuned to my every response. I felt her mouth at my collarbone, then lower, tracing the curve of my torso with deliberate care. My breath hitched as she explored with unhurried precision, the sensation sending shivers through me. A light, lingering touch at my hips sent a jolt through me, my body reacting instinctively. There was no rush, only the careful peeling back of anticipation, a slow-burning heat that had me holding my breath. Then her touch grew more intentional. A rush of warmth flooded me, making my breath catch, my breathing grow uneven. Every motion drew me further under, lost in the sensations. Her rhythm was steady, building upon itself, each deliberate movement keeping me suspended in the moment. A sound from across the room, low and strained, sliced through the haze. I turned my head slightly, my vision blurring at the edges. "Liam?" He was still in the chair, but barely. His hands clutched the arms, his chest rising and falling with measured restraint. His gaze was locked on me, his expression unreadable, but everything about him, his posture, his tension, spoke volumes. He was barely holding himself together. The air felt thick, weighted with unspoken understanding. He wasn't just watching anymore. He was caught in this current, just as powerfully as I was. I met his gaze, my fingers reaching toward him, the movement small but deliberate. It was nothing more than an invitation, a silent acknowledgement that his presence mattered just as much as everything else in this moment. His grip on the chair loosened, his body tensed, and then finally he rose. The moment he stepped forward, the energy in the room shifted. I felt it before I even saw him. The weight of his presence, the heat radiating from his skin as he came closer. His hands found my waist, fingers pressing in just enough to send a quiet thrill through me. When I looked up, his eyes were already on mine, dark, intense, filled with something unspoken. Then his lips were on mine, the kiss deep, filled with everything words couldn't express. A slow pull, a quiet surrender. I melted against him, his warmth enveloping me as his hands traced my back. "Thank you," he murmured, his voice low against my lips. A shiver ran down my spine, not just from his words, but from the raw emotion in his tone, as if this moment was everything he had ever craved. Then, Seraphina moved, a subtle shift on the bed. The weight of her presence registered before I even turned my head. She was watching him, watching us, a slow, knowing smile curving her lips. There was no hesitation in her gaze, no uncertainty, just quiet confidence as she leaned in, fingers trailing over his stomach, lower, until he let out a sharp exhale. I didn't look away as she kissed down his body, her touch exploring, teasing. My lips stayed locked on his, my hands tangling in his hair, feeling the quiet tremor that ran through him. His breath grew heavier, slower, his body reacting to every delicate movement she made. His fingers tightened on my back as she grew more focused, a deep sound slipping from his throat. I felt his breath catch against my lips, his reaction sending something electric through me. The way his body tensed, the way his fingers dug into my hips as if he needed something to ground himself. It was intoxicating to watch, to feel him react to every slow movement, every shift in his breath. And then I moved with her. I trailed my kisses down his jaw, along his neck, feeling the heat of his pulse beneath my lips, lower still until I was beside her, our movements sinking in silent understanding. His head fell back, his breath uneven, lost in the moment between us. Every sound he made sent a fresh wave of heat through me, fueling the moment, pulling me deeper. I could feel the tension radiating from him, his hands gripping the sheets, but we weren't done yet. A shift, a change in position. Seraphina was on the bed now, beneath me, her breath warm against my skin. I felt her hands guide me, settling me into place. A sharp inhale left my lips as she began, my fingers curling into the sheets as sensation flooded through me, slow, teasing strokes dragging me under, making my head fall back. And then him. The weight of his body against hers, the deep exhale that left his lips as he moved with intent. A quiet gasp escaped Seraphina, her breath hitching against my skin. I felt every shift beneath me, his presence steady, unyielding. The intensity of it was undeniable. His hands steadied her every shift, drawing a reaction beneath me. Her breath, her hands, the brush of her lips against me. It was all too much, an intoxicating mix of sensation that set my pulse racing. But it was him that undid me. The way he looked at me, his gaze locked onto mine, dark and heavy with intensity. Every movement he made sent a shiver through both of us, but it was the way he never looked away, the way he reached for me, his fingers brushing against my skin, his lips capturing mine, that was what unraveled me completely. My body tensed, my breath caught, and the sensation overtook me in waves. Eliza, he groaned deeply, his grip tightening, his body trembling as the moment consumed him. His voice lingered, low and rough, saying my name. Then silence. His forehead pressed against mine, his breath still uneven, a slow, satisfied exhale slipping from his lips. A small, breathless laugh left me, my fingers still tangled in the sheets. I turned my head slightly, my lips brushing against his ear. Happy? His arms wrapped around me, pulling me close, pressing a lingering kiss to my shoulder. More than you know.